Ravenloft is back, and Wizards of the Coast thought, you know, looking at the normal character progression, this is so boring. We should add more emotional trauma. And so, they gave us the new Ravenloft book, The Horrors Within. In this new book, you get 11 new features, and a return to the classic dark gifts, which are special powers that are given to you that are creepy, supernatural abilities that have unsettling side effects. And everything in Ravenloft is always a gift, but it's wrapped in a cursed bow. It isn't your typical gain a bonus and move on feats. Dark gifts are all about temptation. Want strange power beyond mortal comprehension? Sure. You want your party to question if you're still the same person? Absolutely. Domains of Dread have always been about making deals with darkness, and to question it is a horror all in its own. Some gifts twist your body into unnatural ways, while others connect you to spirits, to curses, and to things lurking beyond your mortal mind's reality. And that last thing is what really makes you think that the DM is going to be smiling and writing notes as this plays out. To give you a vibe, let's imagine that when you wake up from a long rest, when you look into your reflection in the water, your reflection blinks before you do. What you imagine hearing whispers that tell you how to solve puzzles, but those whispers, you never figure out where they come from. Imagine that nightmare that you keep having every night isn't a nightmare anymore, but reality. These are the type of vibes these traits bring to the table. So now, back at normal tables, you would sit around the table and talk about how you gained weapon mastery feat. But now whenever you're sitting at this table, all you can think of saying is, cool! I accepted a bargain with an unknown whore, and now crows follow me wherever I go. They're different priorities, but both still fun. Now, let's break down the feats. For Origins features, we have Sharp Eyes and Survivor. Sharp Eyes, you can search and study, and you have advantage on ability checks. You can use this feature as many times as you have numbers in your proficiency bonus. But if you fail the check, you just don't use up that feature. Survivor has two benefits, Hypervigilance and Steel Yourself, S-T-E-E-L. One is a free reroll if you roll lower than a 9 on initiative, while the other one is an add-on bonus roll to if you fail your saving roll for a charmed or frightened condition. Next up is Dark Gifts, and they're just like cool little things that your DM can bestow upon you whenever their little horror hearts desire. But with great power comes great horror, not responsibility. First dark gift is Aberrant Anatomy. It's where you had an alien encounter and it messed you up. Physically, mentally, emotionally, all the L's. You have the ability to hold your breath for an hour. You have blind sight. You have expertise and proficiency in perception, as well as the terrifying warping flesh. That is when the alien infection inside your body decides it's going to take over your body if you critically fail a D20 test. And if you fail a con save, you are now stunned until the end of your next turn. So Echoing Soul is when you see echoes of the past. So it could be alternate realities or your past lives. Get Channeled Prowess, which is where you can choose 2 skills of your choice, and one of them you can even have expertise in. You get to learn 1 new language, and then the scary one is Intrusive Echoes. When you roll a natural 1 on a D20 test, the echoes of your past life and alternate selves come and consume you. If you fail a con save, then you become incapacitated till the end of your next turn. Your speed is also halved for a little bit. Next is Gathered Whispers. You don't see dead people, instead you hear dead people. Their whispers haunt you, and only you can hear them. You gain Spirit Whisperer, where you gain message and augury, and you can cast them out using a spell slot or components. Unearthly Scream It's basically where, when you're attacking, you can use a bonus action to be a megaphone for all the voices that are in your ears and use it as some damage. You can use it as many times as you want, as long as your number is equal to your proficiency bonus. It's just the scary part. Voices from beyond. If you critically fail a d20 test, the voices get louder and louder until you're deafened if you fail your wisdom saving throw. You also have disadvantage on any ability checks and attack rolls now. Living Shadow is next. You know the shadow from Peter Pan where it kind of had a mind of its own? That's your shadow now. You have Grasping Shadows, which is aka Mage Hand, and you can use it without using a spell slot or components. You have Lengthened Strike. That is basically where whenever you do a melee attack using melee or magic melee, you gain an extra 10 feet of range. The spooky part, Ominous Will. If you roll a 1 on a d20 test, like the others, your shadow tries to take control. And if you fail the wisdom saving throw, you become incapacitated, and then you have to roll for the Shadow's Will table, which I can go more into that in another video. Next is Mistwalker. You can easily find your way through any of the mist, but if you stay stationary for too long, the mist is going to come find you. So, Domain Travelers, basically if you know the name of the domain that you're in, you basically become the talisman, the mist talisman for that area, so you can go traversing through that domain. Then there's Mistwalk, where if you fail a saving throw or get damaged while you are in a grappled or restrained condition, you get to teleport 15 feet away to an unoccupied space. You can do that as many times as you had for numbers in your proficiency bonus. Poisoned Roots. After a long rest, the world around you starts to suck out your life essence within a 10-mile radius. And after a short rest, you have to make a con saving roll. And if you lose, everything that you gained over the short rest, you now just don't. Second Skinned is next, and it's basically like you shift like a druid, but like in a horrible way. So first you have Altered Self always prepared. You don't have to use a spell slot or even concentration for it. You cast it as many times as you have numbers in your proficiency bonus. Involuntary change is when you have an involuntary change caused by a random roll in the change catalyst, which I can go further into another video about. You must make a charisma saving roll, and if you fail, you get changed into your altered self, but if you're already in your altered self, you become stunned instead. Symbiotic Being is the next one. Your symbiote becomes part of you, and for a good thing, it can be targeted, but if you die, it dies. If you come back alive, it comes back alive. You're together forever, no separating. You also get proficiency in one of these skills. There's so many, I just didn't want to say them all. As well as learning a new language. Sustained Symbiosis is when you roll a dice and you add that number to your saving roll. So if you have a chance at success, you have a chance of being successful. And if you fail, you're just, the gods are just not happy with you that day. Symbiotic Agenda. You know the drill by now. Ability 20 test, blah, blah, blah. You have to make a saving throw, blah, blah, blah. If you fail, blah, blah, blah. Charisma, blah, blah, blah. Symbiote takes over your body and you have to make a charisma saving roll, or you are charmed for 1d12 hours. You do whatever the symbiote wants during that time, and if you take damage though, you can re-roll and hopefully get control back over your body. We just have 2 more left, guys, so just stay with me. Next is Touch of Death. You get Chill Touch on deck, so no components needed. Now whenever you send out necrotic damage, it ignores any resistance to it. And the sad part now is that you have disadvantage on death saving rolls. Last is Watchers. You know that feeling of you're being watched? That's if that was a person. You gain Beast Sense and also speak with animals, and you can use it with no components needed, once per long rest. Both. You can use both once per long rest. You have heightened suspicion, so whenever you do a search action, you can add a D4 to it, and then you just add a D4 to it, and it's good. You get a higher roll. You do have disadvantage on saving rolls against scrying spells. That Watcher Paranoia kind of gets to you if you roll a 1 on a D20 test. And if you fail a wisdom saving throw, you now get disadvantage on D20 test for an in-game minute. But you can re-roll whenever it's your turn to try and regain your composure. And that's all the new features! If you love horror stories, tragic heroes, and characters that make increasingly questionable life choices, the Feats and Ravenloft, The Horrors Within, are probably the most flavorful feats that we've had in years. Because sometimes the real treasure isn't gold. It's the Eldritch curses that we gained along the way that the DM is probably going to use as their new favorite plot hook. So would your character be smart enough to say no to a dark gift, or would you say yeah for the plot? Let me know in the comments. And remember, folks, if a mysterious voice offers you power, it's probably good for the current plot line, but will be bad in the future. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe, like, ring the little notification bell if you want to. I make D&D content, tabletop RPG content, Ravenloft content, cosplay content. I do a whole bunch of stuff. So check me out. Y'all have a great day. Bye.